kind of give us the, play-by-play here for a few minutes and just let everybody know what the come-up was like here.
Okay, so, well, just briefly a little bit about myself. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. When I was 17 years old, I moved to Los Angeles to become an actress, a model. At 17 years old, I knew no one there, but I had it ingrained in myself since a very little girl to be this strong, powerful, independent woman, never depend on anyone, but especially a man, never depend on a man for anything. So at 17 years old, I set out to Los Angeles and whatever, had my ups, my downs, but I was moderately successful. Now, cut to, I never wanted to be married, actually. I never thought I wanted to have kids. I've always been, and then I'll move on to the play-by-play, but I've always just I've always been this tomboy. I've always associated more with men than women. So I worked on cars, hot rods. I was ranked 10th in California for shotguns. I shot, so I was always just thought men and relationships would hold me back in life. And so what happened is I had created that scenario for myself over and over and over to make myself right, that all men hold you back and never depend on them and never need them and whatnot. Cut to, now I'm 30 years old. I wish, but back then. Cut to, I'm 30 years old, and I finally get with Grant, and we end up getting married at 30 years old. 4 years later, we're in this relationship. I never really understood what a relationship was, the benefit of it. I just thought you love somebody, you're monogamous with them, and you just, you live. That's really all I knew about it. But the problem is in the relationship, I was still carrying with myself this, be the strong, independent woman, never depend on a man for anything. So for the first 4 years of our relationship, that was the game I was playing in our relationship. So I was vying for this male-female sort of power position with him. So I was creating in my life, doing my thing, and he was doing his thing, but then we'd come home and have this sort of power struggle. Mm-hmm. And that was like our game. That was like our big game, and I'm good at that game, But it was finally in 2008, I was at the end of my acting career. I was now 36 years old. That's very old in Hollywood. I was pregnant with our first child. The economy collapsed, and I was forced to look at a few things. We were terrified. I'd never seen Grant scared, ever. He was really scared. And so that was a moment where I was forced to confront some things, and I had a very big decision to make at that time, which was, I'm going to trade in this acting career in order to trade up for this idea. That was the birth of the idea of what does this mean to build an empire? What does that look like? So I had to battle with the demons inside of my head, which were 1 million women's faces around the globe that were going to disown me if I gave up my thing to go support a man, But on the other hand, I had this thing where if I actually supported him and brought all of my superhero powers and assets and what I can do well and understood how to actually get beside somebody to actually support the goal and the mission, could we actually achieve this heightened level of success together? And could we actually build and have this thing, which we do have now, called an empire? But at the time, it was a very bold, very scary, very risky move. But as I say, find the one you trust and build an empire. Well, Grant was the one I trusted, and he, didn't let me down. So it was a bet that was worth making. But had it not worked out, my plan B was this, knowing this about myself. I knew at that time when I made that decision, to go all in on a guy, I knew that if it didn't work out, because I had all those other voices too, where it was, oh, well, he's going to cheat on you, and he's going to go for a younger woman, or oh, how stupid are you? You're going to give up your career, and then what are you going to be stuck with? I mean, I don't know if there's any other women out there that have this, but this was a real thing for me. And I just looked at it and I was like, thanks, there are women, you have that too. Okay, so this is a real thing for women. But I looked at myself and I said, you know what? I come from the streets in New Orleans. What's the worst thing that could happen to me? I could be humiliated. I'm like, okay, I did that on my own. Okay, I can deal with that. And then I looked at like, look, dude, I was 17 when I moved out by myself and took care of myself. I'm not a victim. Nothing happens to me. So if this thing doesn't work out, the worst thing is I look humiliated, but I don't lose in this game. I pick myself up. I will find a way to survive. I will find a way to flourish. So it made it an easy decision to me. Now, cut to, all these years later, I've come across a few things where I've learned, wow, like I thought I needed to be the strong, independent woman, never depend on a man for anything, but I could only go so high on my own. And that was a lie that either I have been indoctrinated with or we've all been indoctrinated with to some degree. We've all been taught this solopreneur, you can do it on your own. You can't. You can build an empire. You can't build an empire on your own. So what I learned out of all of that, and then I'll let you get to your next question. What I learned out of all of that is, you know, that alone was such a hold down for me because the power of allowing somebody to come in to help you where you cap out. You cap out. Everyone can only go so far on their own. And for me, now that I've been married for 18 years together with the man for 20 years, what I've learned about a marriage is my partner is there to where I cap out. They're there to help me reach a heightened level of success. And that is the entire purpose and why Grant and I do so well and why we continue to remain in love with each other is because for us, what love is helping each other reach our goals and our dreams. And so when he's helping me and I'm helping him achieve those goals, we fall more in love. And it also forces us to have each other's back and to be fortified because that's now the target. Those are the enemies. Those are the big games that we're going for in life. I don't need to be small and play these small-minded, I'm going to beat my husband in the battle of the wits of whatever.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So, out of all of that, which is so ironic because I never thought it was going to be a man to make me realize this, but I really found my strength and power as a woman through what I have been with and experienced through a man.